So we are doing my full wavy hair routine today. I just shampooed and conditioned my hair with Lush Step 1 and 2. I'm sorry, I'm running a little behind today. Story of my life. Literally don't even have a belt on. Okay. You guys are very tall. So the products that I'm gonna be using, how's that? That's pretty good. Let's decide together. I was gonna use I always use the Irish Sea Moss gel. The reason I always use this product is it's just so forgiving. I feel like I always get good results, and I always get like several days out of the style. So I don't know, that's why I always reach for it. And then I think I'm gonna do recoil again. It's been so boring lately. This has been like my last 5 wash days, but the results have just been so phenomenal that I think I'm gonna do it again. I don't know. If that's boring, you want me to try something else, let me know. But I think I'm gonna do that again. And then I might do a little hairspray. I have been doing a little bit of hairspray lately. At the end, I was talking to Marilyn, who is a curly hair specialist, about hairspray and whether or not it's okay to use hairspray that contains denatured alcohol, which is a drying alcohol. And she felt like it was okay. She's like, it's a pretty small amount of the product you put in your hair. Unless you're applying like a ton of it every single day, she felt that it was probably okay. So I think I might go back to using regular hairspray. I have been using the Bounce Curl alcohol-free hairspray, and it does do the trick, but it's not quite as effective, I find. I don't like it quite as much as my Tresemme. Now, if you are going to use something like a Tresemme that doesn't have great ingredients in it, remember that it is probably going to build up on your hair over time, so you want to be using a clarifying shampoo. Okay, we've got her, the Demon D4. That is like my main tool when it comes to styling my hair. One sec, I'm not organized. Usually I have a little table, my brush, my water bottle. I have to fill this up 1 second. Okay, let's get to it. You use hairspray every day and your hair is still healthy, so don't worry. That's encouraging. I'm all mixed up because the platform that I usually go on TikTok on, I'm on Instagram today and vice versa. Anyways, okay, I've got my coffee. These mugs, my aunt had these mugs growing up, and now that I'm married, my mother-in-law had these mugs, and she had too many of them, and she gifted like 6 of them to me. And I love them so much. Aren't they gorgeous? I want this whole set of china. Okay, let's get all of the angles popping. So somebody just asked, what is the best product? That's a great question. Unfortunately, it's not an easy one for me to answer because there's no one best product for all wavy and curly folks in the world. That's just not how it works. I wish it was. It's simply not. It's going to depend on your curl pattern. It's going to depend on your hair density. Hi, Emily. How are ya? It's going to depend on your hair density. It's going to depend on your hair porosity, and it's going to depend on the little of how you want to style your hair, and it's going to depend on the little X factor of your hair and just like how it generally responds to product. So because of that, different products are better for different people. That's why I talk about a lot of different products on this platform. I'm not going to be able to be like I love Lush brands. You guys know I love Lush brands. Are they right for everyone? No, of course not. They can't possibly be right for every single head of wavy, curly, or kinky, coily hair. There is no such thing as a silver bullet. For example, people with really, really fine or low density hair, I generally don't recommend Lush brands for. However, if your hair loves moisture, if your hair loves moisture, full stop, then Lost Brains is gonna probably be a really great line for you. Okay, so I think I'm going to do kind of like, one of the things I'm doing right now is I'm working on like increasing the speed of my routine. So I am going to see if I can apply my product in just like faster than I normally do. I was gonna say not in sections, but I don't think I'm ready for that yet. I also didn't squeeze water out of my hair today when I got out of the shower. And I just got out of the shower, but it's still dry. I just like, by the time I get set up for this live, it's no longer as damp as I would like it to be. Okay, so we're starting with Recoil as my primer or like my base. Recoil is like a bit of a heavier product when you apply it to your hair. It comes out like kind of a gel-like consistency, but then you rub it in your hands and it turns very creamy. Wow, big difference, right? So you wanna make sure you do that before you apply it to your hair so that it doesn't all like clump up in one specific spot. Okay, so I do that all over, and then because I'm gonna try and go faster today, not because I'm in a rush, but just because I'm working on increasing the speed of my routines, I'm gonna go right in with my gel on this layer too. So this is the Irish Sea Moss gel. This gel is not going to like bubble up or like grow as much, but it still does do it a bit. I find with my hair, I can get away with a lot of Irish Sea Moss gel. I don't know if it's like the dry winters, but I just can. So that I rub it, and the cream that you're seeing is mostly left over from the Recoil. So again, I'm just going and rake that through the next section. Now, if you have lower density hair, or you're just in a rush, you don't have to apply your hair in sections. If your hair is quite higher density, more coarse, or just like you have a lot of it, it can be a really good idea to apply your product in sections so you don't miss spots. One of the biggest causes of, if you have like some areas that are like really shiny or some areas that are like more fluffy or frizzy than others, it can often be just because, or like your roots are frizzier than the rest of your hair. It can often just be because you didn't evenly distribute your product. So hi, I have a question. I do my hair, it gets really wavy curly. If I don't do anything, it stays frizzy. But when I do my hair, my lowest layer stays straight. What should I do? So uneven curl pattern is completely normal. All of us have uneven curl pattern, and all of us have some areas that are going to be more spirally, more curly, more wavy, more kinky than other areas, okay? For some people whose hair is on the wavier side, you might have some areas that are like pretty straight compared to the rest of your hair. That doesn't necessarily mean that there's anything wrong with your hair, although it could be an indicator that you have damage in those areas. Let me be very clear. It doesn't mean for sure that you have damage in those areas, but it could be an indicator that you have damage in those areas. So the first question I would ask myself is the straightest part of my hair the spot where I get highlights? Because then it's probably because of damage, right? And if that's the case, well, maybe doing something like a bond treatment, Olaplex, or adding a little, like making sure I have some protein in my products, stuff like that might help a little bit to get that bounce back. Bond treatments like Olaplex 0 and 3, or K18, those are gonna help. But on the, or maybe your bangs are the least curly or least spirally part of your hair and you straighten your bangs all the time. You know, that would be another indicator. But if the area of your hair that is the least curly or the straightest, there's no reason for it to be more damaged than any other part of your hair, chances are it's just uneven curl pattern. So what do you do in that case? Well, for one thing, it really helps to go to a hairstylist who knows what they're talking about and is going to give it, like, tell them that you wear your hair like in its more natural pattern. Tell them that you're not straightening your hair. And they should give you a haircut that it is at least partially cut dry, so that they're gonna pay attention to that natural curl pattern while they're cutting your hair. And that way they're going to be able to how do I say this? Kind of like incorporate it all together so that it looks more blended. So that it's not like, because if they cut it all the same length, if they pull it straight and cut it all the same length, then those straight areas are going to seem really long compared to the more spirally areas that shorten up, right? So you've told several stylists I'm learning how to do my curls, but they're still clueless on it. So you need a new stylist. So that's like having a stylist who's going to pay attention to that, and having a haircut that's going to cater to that is really going to help. So apart from a good haircut, which does make a really big difference, what else can help? Diffusing your hair really helps. Dem and brush curls can sometimes help areas that have a natural like S wave go into more of a spiral, which might help it match the rest of your head if the rest of your head is more of a spiral. You can pin curl that section. You can use a curling iron on that section if you want to. Isn't that cheating, is what people always say. Cheating to who? I mean, you don't want to then go out in the world and be like, these are my natural curls. Like, be honest. But we're styling our hair. Like, do whatever you want to do that makes you feel good and confident, but make sure you use heat protectant. But if you want to do it without heat, you could use hot rollers, which, yes, there is heat there, but a hot roller is not going to damage your hair. It's not hot enough to damage your hair. You could also use just regular pin curls, but yeah, brush curling, finger curling, stuff like that can also enhance it. Is the sea moss gel lightweight? It's like a medium weight. It's not the lightest weight gel, like the Wedad Tress Effects gel is slightly lighter weight. I just literally stuck my head under the faucet to save us some time. Good morning, Tony. You try so hard to get rid of frizz, but nothing's working. Oh, I have something in my eye. 1 second. I'm struggling so hard. There's something in my eye and I can't get it. The Irish sea moss gel is what I just put in my hair. So getting rid of frizz. So the key to getting rid of frizz is it can be caused by so many different things. I have a video called the Anti-Frizz Masterclass that you can go check out. I wonder if you type in Anti-Frizz Masterclass and gal has wavy hair, it might, in the search bar, it might just come up. I cannot open my eye. Did I get it? I think I got it. Okay. Oh my god, I'm so sorry, guys. I literally can't see out of one eye. Good enough. So frizz, it can be caused by an imbalance of protein or moisture in your hair, for sure. It can be caused by, which I have a guide about, you can go check out in my bio. It can also be caused by when applying your product to hair that's not wet enough. It can also be caused by wet. If you have wet frizz, then that's going to turn into dry frizz. So what you can do is smooth that wet frizz using techniques like what I'm doing here. Using a brush, using Rake and Shake. I've got some videos about different ways to smooth frizz. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead with the routine now. Okay. So my hair isn't very spirally on top, it is very spirally underneath, so I'm gonna get into that now. So the bottom layer of my hair I have sectioned off now. Basically, because my hair is already, here, I'm just gonna turn this light on so you can see a little bit better just for a sec. I'm not gonna leave it like that. Let me make it a little bit brighter. Okay, so did that make a difference? Is the lighting better now? The hair is already pretty wet and I've added lots of product. So all I'm gonna do is kind of brush through in this section of my hair that is naturally most spirally. And I'm just going to let it clump naturally. Oh, I added a lot of product. Those clumps are too big, so now I'm going to rake through to separate them into individual clumps. There we go. Okay, and then I'm gonna do the same thing at the back. Whoop. Rake through to break it into smaller clumps. Yeah, diffusing is a really great way to learn to control frizz. Now, bad diffusing technique is going to create more frizz, but once you really nail your diffusing technique, it's a great way to reduce the amount of frizz compared to air drying. Yeah, so if you get the hair to clump, it's going to end up looking less stringy. So I'm brushing through to smooth the wet frizz. That's why I'm brushing. And then I'm creating these individual clumps with my fingers. So this is called rake and shake. So you can rake through, and if raking through gets rid of all the natural spiral or wave pattern, then you can shake to revive your pattern. And that's the shake. So this method is called the rake and shake method. Look how much product is left in my hair. Now this is because I'm using emulsifying products that it's coming like this, and I added a lot of product to my hair today, partially because I don't have a mirror that I'm working in. Maybe I'm gonna go get a mirror. Guys, I'm really walking away from the camera a lot today. Okay, 1 second. I'm gonna go get a mirror so that I can actually have something to work in. Now, in some people's hair, I would maybe worry about that amount of product. In my hair, I'm really not worried. I've had this amount of product in my hair before, and it might weigh it down a little bit, so I might get a little bit less volume, but it's so dry in the winter in Canada that my hair is just gonna, like, the environment is gonna suck up all the moisture. Is it terrible that I just don't have the patience and arm strength for diffusing? You know, you can buy a tabletop, what are they called? Hood dryer, so that you can, like, you know, work on your iPad or whatever, or eat food while your hair is drying. I've been thinking about investing in one actually, so I could edit content while my hair is starting to dry, and then just finish with Pixie diffusing after, like, my hair's been under the hood dryer for like 25 minutes. At the salon, that's what they usually do. If you go to a curly hair salon, you sit under the hood dryer for like 20 minutes or whatever, or 15 minutes, and then they finish with Pixie diffusing so that the hairstylist isn't sitting there blow drying your hair for the full time. Yeah, I know. I need to work with a company who sells a hood dryer. Look how much product is in my hair. Probably too much. Oh well. I do not have fine hair. I would not have this much product in fine hair. Definitely not. It would be so weighed down. Okay. Are we back? I think I lost YouTube there for a second. So I'm just gonna keep going. I pull down section by section. So this is just another section. I don't have any of my alligator clips right now. So can I explain hair porosity and density and how to figure out which type you have? Yeah, totally. Let's start with talking about porosity. So there is high, medium, and low porosity. A lot of people I have medium porosity hair. So at the ends of the spectrum, you have very high porosity hair. Very high porosity hair, the cuticles on it are wide open. So they absorb water very, very quickly, but they also struggle to hold on to water and hold on to hydration and moisture. So what does that mean practically? Well, because the cuticles are like wide open, that hair can get tangled very easily. You can picture it kind of like Velcro. But also it has a tendency to get wet very easily. Like you spray it with water, it absorbs the droplets within a few minutes or right away. And also it will it will air dry without products in less than 5 hours, okay? A lot of people don't realize that when we say your hair air dries without products very quickly, we don't mean 20 minutes necessarily. We mean like less than 4 or 5 hours. So a lot of people are like, my hair takes forever to air dry. It takes 2 hours. That's not a long time. In the scheme of all hair types, a long time for your hair to air dry without products is 8 hours or more. So what does low look like then? Low porosity hair, on the other end of things, is hair where the cuticles are much more closed. They lie much flatter. So because of that, moisture has a very difficult time penetrating those hair shafts. As a result, low porosity hair struggles to get wet. And just so you know, these cuticles are microscopic. You can't see them. You wouldn't be able to feel them if you were running your fingers along the strand. So for low porosity hair, the hair really struggles to get wet. Now, we talk a lot about the spray test. You know, if you spray water on your hair, you can test its porosity. When you spray water on your hair, it's not whether or not your hair absorbs the water immediately. Low porosity hair might take, if you spray your hair with water and it's absorbing in 5 or 6 minutes, you're probably like a normal porosity. Maybe even it's still on the higher end of porosity. So a lot of people spray, they see the droplets and they're like, I'm low porosity. It's not quite that simple. Also, the spray test is a little problematic because if you have buildup of any kind on hair from hard water, from silicones, it can act low porosity because you've got buildup preventing that water from being penetrated by your hair strands. Okay, so now we're talking about low porosity hair. Low porosity hair has those closed off cuticle shafts. Hi, Selena. It closed off cuticle shafts. What was I saying? It has, it struggles to absorb moisture, but when it does get wet, because those cuticles are pretty closed, it holds on to that moisture like nobody's business. Now, there are a lot of people who say, no, low porosity hair is the hair that dries really quickly, not high porosity hair. The reason some people say that is because it is so hard to get very low porosity hair wet that in reality, even while shampooing and conditioning it, some people with low porosity hair never truly get it wet. If you can imagine, that's what true low porosity hair, like very low porosity hair, is like. You can shampoo it and it still never really got wet. And so as a result, because it never fully got saturated, remember, that's how much it kind of like repels the water. It's going to dry almost instantly because it never even got wet in the first place. And so because of that, there can be a lot of confusion of people being like, no, low porosity hair dries really quickly. It does if you never get it saturated. But once you do get it saturated, which can be quite difficult, sometimes you even need help. Like sometimes you need to add humectant products into the hair to help absorb and attract that moisture, and you really need to like work the product and the water and the hydration into the hair to get it to absorb. Once you actually get it saturated, it takes a very long time to dry. So anyways, that's high, low porosity. And if neither of those really seems right to you, if you're like, well, my hair doesn't dry in like 3-4 hours or less, but also the way you're describing low porosity doesn't really sound like my hair, you might just be normal porosity. And lots of us are in that normal category. Like I'm in that normal category. So what does porosity mean for products? So porosity is one of the factors that we consider when we are choosing products. It is not the only factor we consider, it is one of the factors that we consider. Okay? So remember, we're doing the rake and shake method here to create those individual curl clumps. We're going to do some scrunching later on, and now that we're at the top section, we're going to pivot to a little bit more like finger curling and stuff like that. But just for these underneath layers, I was really just focusing on getting everything clumped. I have way too much product in my hair. Let's see how this turns out. So if you have very low porosity hair, hello. Is that Manny? She is going gray. So if your hair is very high porosity, then within reason, your hair may prefer hair products that are slightly low porosity hair. Okay? Now that doesn't mean that you need to use butters on your hair just because you have high porosity hair. You also need to take into consideration, is your hair fine? Is your hair wavy? Like there's other things to take into consideration, but one of the factors is your hair porosity. And because your hair struggles to hold on to moisture, having slightly heavier products can just help your hair retain that moisture a little bit longer. Okay? Low porosity hair can often benefit from lighter weight products like milky products and sprays. Because those cuticles are closed off and they struggle to absorb moisture, those lighter, more watery products can have an easier time being absorbed by the cuticles. Oh my God, stalkers. Weird. Yeah, we are gonna have to do some serious microplopping to get rid of some of the excess product in my hair because there's way too much. Oh my God, that's wild. Greetings from South Africa, that's awesome. Now, if your hair is, okay, now so that was a really long description of porosity. I hope that was helpful. As far as, sorry, because I have so much product in my hair, I'm really trying to like saturate it a little bit. By the way, if anybody's been following on with the fact that I have some big news coming, it is going to get announced this week. Yay! Probably tomorrow. Maybe even today. But not during this live. See, too much product. So the density of your hair, I don't know if I can remember this off the top of my head, but I'm pretty sure fine hair, if you take a single strand and rub it between your fingers, you won't even be able to feel it, versus like coarse hair should feel very clearly between your fingers. I think there was a comparison to it. But yeah, so fine hair, you should almost not even feel it between your fingers when you're rolling it like that. That's like probably the easiest way to tell fine from coarse. It's a Marilyn, are you in my live right now? There's no rush at all. And then, so those are two factors when choosing your products. And of course, you know, your curl pattern is going to matter too, because if you have like a looser wave, your curl pattern and your hair goals Because if you have a looser wave and you want to make your hair look curlier, well, one of the things that's going to be important is that you're not weighing your hair down, and B, that you're using products that have some hold to it, right? Because you want to retain whatever curl pattern you do have. 1 second. Today is a paper towel kind of day. Did any of you watch my curly hair transformation at Curlology? I finally posted it. Yay! Oh, I love when you guys help each other in the comments. Thanks, TikTok. Yes, I know, it was so cute. So she uses a type of paper towel called Gibson's, and you know what? It's something like, I think it's a great idea, especially if you're at home and you're just getting started. It's like, I can recommend it to anybody. It's a great thing to do when you're traveling. But she's using like salon quality paper towels. I should have said that in my video. She's using something called a Gibson. But honestly, like today, it's funny, I just paper towels because I forgot to bring a microfiber towel out, but they work great. Oh my God, you use paper towel too. That's so funny. Has anybody else tried using paper towel to microplop their hair? It's clever. I mean, it's really effective. It creates a lot less frizz than using a terry cloth towel. Your husband doesn't yell at you for taking his favorite t-shirt? Can't complain. Can't complain. So what is a microplop? Very good question. A microplop is, sorry, I really don't have a mirror today, so I'm just kind of like winging it based on feel. So today's hair might be a little unpredictable. So a microplop, so some of you might already be familiar with a plop. A full plop, there's too much product in my hair. The products, for anyone who just joined, the products that are in my hair so far is the Recoil by AG and the Lush Brands Irish Sea Moss Gel. And a plop is when, after applying your product and everything, like it's still soaking wet, in order to absorb some of the moisture out of your hair before you go to dry it, you like wrap your hair up in a t-shirt. Have you ever seen someone do that? Or a microfiber towel. So it's called plopping your hair in the t-shirt to absorb some of that moisture out of your hair. And it also like helps keep your hair up off your head so that it doesn't like get weighed down by the water as it dries. So the alternative to a full plop is called a microplop. And it's what Marilyn did on my hair at Curlology when she was styling my hair. However, it's something I've also been doing at home for a long time. I highly recommend experimenting with a microplop. I think it's a great technique for a lot of people. Everybody's hair is so different. Plop doesn't work great for my hair personally. But the microplop is when you take not a terry cloth towel, ideally, because terry cloth towels, see how it's kind of like Velcro? Not, but like all those little loops create more frizz on your hair compared to something like a t-shirt or a microfiber towel or a Gibson or a paper towel. Those textures are going to create a lot less friction and frizz. So the microplop concept, which we're going to do in just a moment because we're almost done, is you basically just flip your hair upside down and you're gently going to squeeze the excess water out of your hair rather than wrapping your hair up in the towel. And the idea is that rather than like rubbing your hair with a towel, you're just squeezing it out, you're scrunching it out, and you're encouraging the curl pattern, and you aren't creating frizz, but you're removing that excess water to cut down on your dry time. Okay, so now we're just gonna do a couple of little brush curls here. You absolutely don't need to do this, but it's something that I like to do because I find it gives me slightly more predictable results, especially on this part of my head here where my curl pattern is naturally a little wonky sometimes, but also it's naturally like a very loose S wave. This is a Denman D4. You can also use the Dem D3. You can also actually use a regular paddle brush for this. So always try what you've got at home before you go out and spend money on a new brush, because I definitely did this technique with a paddle brush that had a very smooth round handle for a long time before I invested in a Denman brush. But the Denman brush does make it a little bit easier because there's good grip. Okay, if it really does not want to go in one direction, the easiest thing you can do is try the other direction. Oh, sorry, I'm off. Instagram, you gotta tell me when I'm out of frame. So let's see if it'll hold in the other direction a little bit tighter. Wow, you see that difference? It wasn't holding in one direction, and now it's holding so much better in the other direction. People get mad about the funniest things. You wash your hair, brush it and air dry. It goes curly at the roots. Does that mean you have curly hair? No. If you had curly hair, you would probably know. However, maybe you have some natural wave to your hair. Maybe you have wavy hair. Maybe you have swavy hair, which is like straight wavy hair. So if you've got some natural like curl pattern there when your hair is wet, what I would, and you're interested in pursuing it, then what I would say is play around with it, you know, start doing some wavy hair routines, and start playing around with some gel and see if you can get that curl pattern to hold when you dry. Definitely diffusing your hair is going to help with that to get it to hold so it doesn't get weighed down while your hair is drying. And yeah, you definitely might have some spirals or some S waves that are hiding in there. And you might have a lot of fun along the way. Do you have to do this with a Denman brush every time, or after a while the curl pattern stays? So what I'm doing right now, I don't have to do. What I'm doing right now is adding definition, and I'm slightly enhancing the curl pattern. I naturally have more of an S wave in this area. Maybe the odd one will naturally hold in a spiral, but they tend to end up a little bit wonky. So by going in and shaping each of these right on my face with a Denman brush and doing what I call a Denman brush curl, or just a brush curl, I am shaping them very intentionally so that I get predictable results around my face, because I'm going to be looking at these ones around my face more than the rest of my head. But they're only going to last until the next wash day, right? I'm not doing anything permanent. I'm not perming them. This is just going to last until the next wash day. But they are naturally spirally. Does that make sense? So some of them would spiral anyways, even if I didn't do this. Some of them would just S-wave on their own if I didn't do this. And all I'm doing here is kind of intentionally shaping them so I get more predictable results on this wash day. That will last for a few days until I wash my hair next. I am in Ottawa, Canada. How to bring back your waves or curls after bleach. Definitely bond treatments can be a really helpful thing to look into. I think somebody just responded that to you. K18, Olaplex. Also, hair that has been lightened tends to be, maybe not always, but it tends to raise the porosity of your hair. So often hair that's been lightened tends to be higher porosity, and higher porosity hair tends to, as a rule, like protein. So chances are your hair might benefit from a protein treatment as well. Also, if you wear your hair wavy or curly, when you go to get your hair lightened, talk to your stylist about that. Talk to them about how you want to minimize the impact or disruption to your curl pattern, because there's things that they can do to make sure they're using, they're doing as little as possible damage to your hair, right? Like they can do Olaplex when they're coloring your hair. You can't tell if you have low or high porosity. Sophia, did you just join? We just had such a long conversation about porosity. Go back and watch this recording. It's going to be saved to Instagram and YouTube afterwards. My waves start from the middle. I don't know how to create volume because my hair is super fine. Yeah, when you have hair that the curl pattern doesn't start at the root, you can struggle with volume. I have that as well. The top layer of my hair, the curl pattern really only starts 1.5 inches away from my root, and that causes me to not get a lot of volume at the top of my head. Some of the things that you can do is when you're brush styling your hair, really focus on getting the first bend at the root right here, and that's going to help a little bit. Okay, so you want to really focus on getting those first bends near the root, which will help kind of artificially enhance how high the curl pattern is starting. Diffusing your hair will really help, and a good haircut will also really help. Okay, so now we are going to try the paper towel trick. Now, if you saw my curly cut with Marilyn at Curlology, she used paper towel. Now, she used much higher quality paper towel than what I am about to use. These are from Loblaws. She used salon quality Gibsons. We're gonna use what we have, and all of my microfiber towels are currently in the wash. So we're gonna give this a try at home. So what she does is she starts by putting a towel on the floor. We've got our towel, we're putting it on the floor. And she starts by just squeezing out any excess water. Okay? And if there isn't some water coming out when you squeeze, probably your hair wasn't wet enough during the styling process. So this is almost a good litmus test. What is that word? So satisfying. Don't forget the back of your head too. Litmus test. Thank you for putting me out of my misery there. Okay. There's too much product in my hair. But anyways, also the microfiber microplopping also helps a little bit when you know you have too much product in your hair. The other thing you can do at this point, if you know you have too much product in your hair and you're worried that your hair is gonna get weighed down, stick your head in the shower and just quickly, like very quickly rinse with a little bit of water, and that should dilute the product a little bit. And then you can just microplop from there. We're not gonna do that. I can't be bothered. Okay, so now I'm gonna take the paper towel and very gently squeeze out excess water. Okay, now this is really going to encourage the curl pattern. You can do this with a t-shirt, you can do this with a microfiber towel, you can do this with paper towels. Don't do this with a terry cloth towel. Don't forget the back of your head. The other side. If you find this valuable, guys, don't forget to hit that follow button. I do go live every single Tuesday with my full hair routine at 11 a.m. EST. And Selena, thanks for being on there answering everyone's questions. I always appreciate that so much. Okay, and now we're gonna get the very front. And the idea here by doing this is I'm gonna be cutting down on my blow dry time really significantly. If I was to just go in with the blow dryer and start right away from soaking wet hair, it would take way longer to blow dry. Now, I totally forgot my blow dryer. We are on fire today. We are so organized. I'm gonna go get my blow dryer and be back. I feel like I'm gonna have no volume today because I have so much product in my hair, but whatever. It is what it is. So if you're somebody who likes to plop your hair, you would have done it at this point. If you're someone who likes to put root clips in, you would do it at this point. One sec. So generally, one of the things I'll mention is at this point, you want to look at your hair, and if you've got a ton of wet frizz, if your hair is frizzy now or stringy now, stop and don't proceed with your blow drying just yet. Stringy, frizzy hair at this point is going to typically end up looking stringy and frizzy. There might be exceptions to that, but as a general rule of thumb, stringy, frizzy, wet hair turns into stringy, frizzy, dry hair. Does that make sense? I do sleep with a bonnet, yes. Okay. Did I cut my hair? I sure did. I just posted the curly cut too. You can go check it out on TikTok or Instagram. I'll post it soon on YouTube. Okay, so we're gonna go in and start diffusing. Now, when it comes to diffusing your hair, technique is so important. You can't just go in and start doing this with your diffuser, even though that's what everybody wants to do. I did it too. The first time I picked up a diffuser, I was like, I know how to diffuse. This is how you diffuse. I've seen people do this. This is how you do it. You can do that, and if you like the results that you're getting, of course, keep doing that. But if you're doing that and your hair is turning out frizzy or stringy, then I'm going to recommend you stop doing that. Okay? And instead, I'm going to recommend that you start with hover diffusing, or hover diffusing is when you start with your blow dryer about 8 to 10 centimeters away from your hair like this. And basically the idea here is you want to let your hair start to set inside these nice clumps, frizz-free. You want your curl pattern to be able to start taking its shape, okay? Alternatively, either right away or after you've done this for a little while, you can pixie diffuse. Pixie diffusing is when you cup the hair in the mouth of the diffuser, but you hold your positions for like 20 to 30 seconds. Somebody was asking about transitions. Any suggestions for someone going through transition? Do you mean a hair transition or a gender transition? What kind of transition are you referring to? What do we do if it's frizzy or stringy at this point? If it's frizzy or stringy at this point, my recommendation would be to brush style. That's probably the easiest thing. Or to fully resaturate and just rake through. That can also help fix it. So I hover diffuse on high heat. When my hair starts to get drier, you can turn down the heat and airflow a little bit. Yeah, I had a Conair with a diffuser for a long time too. Guys, I just got a Dyson. Oh, I should have used my Dyson today. Ah! Wait, I gotta go get it. Okay. I'm so excited. This is my first time ever using it. I'm so excited. This is my first time ever using it. I have it on full heat and full. It's much lower airflow than the Lust Brands one. And much quieter. Well, a little bit quieter. little bit quieter in one sense, and then it's kind of like higher pitched in another sense. I think I'm just very used to the other noise. Less airflow is actually a good thing though, because it disrupts your hair pattern less. So when I say less airflow, what I mean is more diffused airflow. Not necessarily less power, it's more diffused, so you feel it, the diffuser is better at diffusing. As far as I know, the diffuser, the Dyson is still very fast. Yeah, somebody on Instagram is like, you're gonna be dry in like 10 minutes. So somebody's asking if I brush my hair with the diffuser. I do, but I don't do it right away. I like to let my hair dry until it's like stiff so that I don't get it frizzy or stringy, and then I start scrunching it and holding positions for 20 to 30 seconds. But everybody's hair is different, guys. So just because that's what works for me doesn't mean that's what's gonna be best for you. So some people need to go in and start scrunching sooner than I do, because this is not going to encourage your curl pattern, right? Versus, actually I think I'm gonna go in now. It's kind of loud. I don't actually know that it's a lot quieter than my Les Brands one, but maybe it's easier for you guys to hear me. It's just a different type of noise. Okay, so now I'm going to cup the hair, and now I'm gonna switch to Pixie Diffusing. This is faster than the Les Brands diffuser. It's also much more expensive though, right? So the first technique that you saw me using is called the hover diffusing method, and that is going to limit the amount of frizz that you have and stringiness and prevent wonkiness in your curls or waves or whatever you have, coils. However, I think the Les Brands diffuser is sold out right now, by the way, guys. That's why I don't have the link in my bio anymore. The Dyson diffuser, sorry, the Pixie diffusing, which is what I'm doing now, where you scrunch and then you hold your position for 20 to 30 seconds, is going to encourage your curl pattern. So that's the difference between the two. So you're gonna find the cocktail that's right for you of which one you wanna do more. So for Pixie diffusing, I still have it on a high heat right now, but as my hair gets drier, I will turn it down a little bit. I heard a curly hair specialist once say, it was Curly Gal Clo, who you can follow on TikTok and Instagram. Curly Gal Clo said, oh my God, okay, this is definitely a little bit faster than my Les Brands diffuser for sure, which makes sense. I mean, it's twice the price. She said, diffusing your hair is like putting your clothes in a tumble dryer. Even on a high heat, it's unlikely that you're gonna burn your hair diffusing. But as your hair clothes get more dry, you can turn the heat down to really ensure. Also, different blow dryers have different like heat settings, so use your good judgment. When Pixie diffusing, do you close the vent? No, I never mess around with the vent. I always leave it open. Okay, so I'm just gonna take a break there because this is a much smaller diffuser than I'm used to. Just to compare for a second, look at how big the diffuser is that I'm used to, and look at how small the Dyson diffuser is. So this is new. Oh, you know what? It feels so much smaller, but in reality, it's not that much smaller. But it feels so much smaller. That's interesting to compare. Okay, but I just wanted to see how my bangs were doing because I feel like I always like to just go in before I'm fully dry and make sure that they're not being weird. Because see how these ones are kind of like already acting a little wonky? If I go in and correct them while my hair is still partially wet, they're easier to correct. See how on this side, they're just being nice, well-behaved spirals, but on this side, they're not. I don't know if you can tell, but they're just not. What am I going to do? Yeah, this side is always not cooperative. If you've ever been on my live before, it's always this side that I'm fighting with. And like, if you're at home, you can always just like use a curling iron on the side that's cooperative. But if you always do that in the exact same spot, over time, you might create some heat damage on that side. So you should really use a little heat protectant if you're gonna go on. So I do this full routine twice a week, and then I don't really touch my hair in between. This is like basically my full hair routine twice a week. It takes me about an hour and a half twice a week, and then that's it. In between, I don't really touch my hair. Okay. And this, you're right, this is a little bit of a more extreme hair routine. You absolutely do not need to have such an extreme hair routine. I love doing my hair, guys. It is a hobby for me. The exact days change, usually always Tuesday, because you guys know I do my live on Tuesdays. And then the other day is whatever day my hair needs to be washed. The other day I don't do live because at some point I have to film content. So do you see, I'm literally like, oh, that hurt. Just like burned my face. I'm kind of like pinning them. Like I'm really manipulating these curls just to make them do what I want them to do. I have actually tried the Bellissima diffuser. It's nice. If all you're ever gonna do is diffuse your hair, it's a nice diffuser. What do you do with product buildup? You clarify your hair. Malibu Sea Undo Goo is a great shampoo that you can try. I love this Chrissy K Beauty. They have a really great bonnet that I love. And I just posted about it on TikTok. It's a recent video that has like 700,000 views that you can check out. I think the title of it is Day 2. I think it's on Instagram too. Yeah, I'm based out of Ottawa, Canada. So you can see this is kind of how I overly manipulate my stubborn bangs. I don't do this on any other part of my head, but I'm gonna be looking at my bangs for the next 4 days. So this is basically me heat styling my bangs, right? Like this is why I say I don't think there's anything wrong with using a curling iron on a few pieces if you really want to, because there's minimal difference between me just using a curling iron on these 2 pieces and what I'm doing right now. I'm heat styling them by using a diffuser. Like I'm manipulating them, putting heat to it. You know what I mean? Please recommend e-fishing mask for low porosity. I don't know if it's specifically good for low porosity hair. That's why I'm like a little hesitant. I love the deep conditioning mask by Lust Brands, the deep condition and repair. It's very moisturizing. I just don't know that it's like specifically good for super low porosity hair. I've never used it on low porosity hair, but it is very moisturizing. But in theory, low porosity hair would want a moisturizing one. So essentially little to no protein mask. So then yeah, you would like the Lust Brands one. Okay, so I've been kind of obsessing about these 2 little spirals here. now they've they're not 100% dry, but they've taken their shape. They're holding their shape now. Emily, I answered your question. How do you know which product? Oh, no, sorry. Never mind. This is a new question. This is a good question. By the way, I love when you ask questions. How do you know which products can cause buildup? So typically it's going to be products like, I don't follow the curly girl method, but the reason the curly girl method exists and they tell you to avoid silicones and products that contain paraffin wax and stuff like that, it's because those ingredients can build up on your hair. The biggest ingredient to avoid in general is silicones. So that's basically any ingredient that ends in CON, CONE, or XAN or XANE, Zan or cone. Those tend to usually be silicones. Now, there are soluble silicones, and those are okay to use in your hair. In fact, all silicones are not evil in and of themselves. They're not bad ingredients. What they do is they cause your hair to feel really slippy and soft and silky. They can protect your hair really well from heat. But the challenge with them is they can also build up on your hair. They're not water soluble. So unless you are very regularly using a shampoo that is strong enough to strip them off your hair, they build up on your hair, and over time they create this layer of product buildup on your hair, so your hair can no longer absorb moisture and hydration and all the good ingredients anymore. They're being blocked by this layer of product buildup. So that's the danger with silicones. So some people choose to still use silicones and they just remove them with a really good undo goo clarifying shampoo on a regular basis. But a lot of wavies and curlies and kinky coilies choose to eliminate at least water non-soluble silicones like dimethicone. Because they can weigh down your curls, they can build up on your curls, and they can prevent your curls from being able to take on hydration. Okay. I'm definitely glad I'm using this today because there's a bit of a learning curve with this Dyson. I guess there is with any new blow dryer. I don't know, I feel like it's louder than my other blow dryer. The vent needs to be clean. How do you know that your hair needs protein? That is such a good question. So hair that needs protein is typically struggling to hold its curl as well as it usually does. And maybe is very fragile and prone to breakage. I'd say those are two pretty big indicators. Hair that has recently been lightened or colored is often slightly higher porosity and might benefit from some protein. Just realize the detanglers you're using have silicones. Any safe detangler recommendations? Yeah, Curl Keeper has some good ones. Also, Amika the Wizard is a silicone-free one. Curlology, the salon, sells that one. Is the Lush mask you mentioned the one in the black packaging? Yeah, it's the only deep conditioner that they sell. It's called Deep Conditioner and Repair. Does your hair get greasy after day 1 or so? I struggle with that. So is your hair getting greasy at the root, or is it looking greasy from the length of the strand? Because if your hair is just looking greasy at the root, it could just be that you have a very oily scalp. But if your hair is looking greasy the whole length of the strand by day 2, chances are that the products you're using are too heavy for your hair. You're probably using a curl cream or something like that that's too heavy for your hair. Guys, I use too much product on my hair. Obviously. I mean, anyone could have told me that. There was way too much product in my hair when I was styling. I did not use any mousse today. I used AG Recoil, which is a Canadian brand. And AG is a Canadian brand. And then I used the Lush Irish Sea Moss Gel by Love Your Curls, Lush brands. Okay, so now I'm going to turn my heat down. And my airflow down. Because my hair is 80 to 90% dry now. Also because I've got a little bit of a headache, so I want it to be quieter. Any product I use leaves my hair dry and my curls don't define. Suggestion. Product leaves your hair dry. That's a tough one. So there's something else at play, because for any product to leave your hair dry, there's something else going on. I wonder if maybe you got a lot of buildup on your hair, and so no matter what product you apply to your hair, it's not able to penetrate the strands because you've got buildup on your hair. It's just sitting on top of that buildup. So that's one possibility. One of the things I would do would be to invest in a really good clarifying shampoo like Malibu Sea Undo Goo. If you know you have hard water, like if you use well water at your house, you have a well, then maybe try the Malibu Sea Hard Water Wellness. The products I use today are AG Recoil and the Les Brands Irish Sea Moss Gel, but I used way too much product today, so I'm going to be diffusing for a long time. I don't know if this is something you have done before, but what if you don't have time to use a diffuser? Could you show an air dry routine? TikTok. I don't know if you have TikTok, but I do have some full hair routines there that one of them, at least one of them is an air dry routine. There might be two. But personally, I don't like to do that. The reason I don't like to do that is because it's a deceitful time savings. So I might save time on my wash day, but I usually can't get my hair to last more than one day if I air dry it. Does that make sense? When you air dry your hair, or I should say when our hair is wet is when it's most prone to getting disturbed, getting frizzy, getting stringy. So as a result, when it's air drying, it's wet for a really long time. So anytime you sit against a chair, or anytime you put on a sweater, or sit back against a chair, or take off a shirt, or put on a scarf, all of those things are creating little micro amounts of frizz. Every time you touch your hair, every time like wind hits your hair, you're creating frizz. When you diffuse your hair, you are reducing the duration of time that your hair is wet, so you're reducing the duration of time. Guys, I've literally been blow drying my hair for 10 minutes. When you're diffusing your hair, you're reducing the duration of the blow dry, of the time that your hair is going to be wet substantially. So as a result, you're reducing the duration of time that your hair can potentially get frizzy, and you end up, if you have the diffusing technique, you end up having hair less frizzy. So I dry my hair all the way to the end, although everybody's hair, this is a new dryer, yay! The Dyson. It's a bit of a learning curve here for me with the new dryer. Okay, so for anybody who joined, as far as like good drying technique, we started off with hover diffusing, where you hover around your hair, and this creates minimal amount of frizz and allows the curl pattern to start to like set, okay, without getting into wonky curl patterns. And without creating frizz or stringiness. That's hover diffusing, just like that. Once it was like, I mean, however long you want to do that is going to depend on your curl pattern and your personal preference. Then at a certain point, I switched to pixie diffusing. Now, when I'm pixie diffusing, I turn my blow dryer off while I get it in position. Then I turn it on and hold positions for 20 to 30 seconds before I turn it back off and move it to a new position. That's pixie diffusing. And that is going to allow us, so still creating minimal frizz because we're turning the blow dryer off before we move it. And we're not doing this, which can create a lot of frizz, okay? So those are kind of like my main two techniques when it comes to diffusing. My lower back is killing me. Let's sit down for a bit. The other thing is, while you're diffusing, your other hand, you don't want to be touching your hair. Put your other hand behind your back if you need to, but you don't want to be creating frizz with this hand while this hand is doing all the heavy lifting. I got my blow dryer second hand. It's a Dyson though. So if you want to go back and see everything we've done up until this point, guys, because we're about an hour and 12 minutes into this live, you can go back. It's going to be, the recording is going to be posted to Instagram under the Reels tab. It'll say live on the cover page of the reel, or it all will also be posted on YouTube under my live section, so you can go back and watch it there. Yay! I never thought I would own a Dyson. I'm so excited. So now my hair is 95% dry. So now we're just going in and just getting that last little bit of wetness out of there. It's fine. It's the same part of the live every single day that people start coming in and saying that. That people start coming in and being like, Wavy? Oh, what a lovely gift. Now, if your hair is much curlier than mine and you want, like if you have very curly hair, curl that spirals from, one of the things that you can do once your hair gets 100% dry is you can take this nozzle off and put your like concentrated nozzle on, and you can straight up start spraying in to break up the cast, spray out roots, and that will help break up the cast and create so much great volume in a really like natural looking way. Great way to bring volume back into your hair. However, if you have naturally wavy hair, chances are your hair is too fragile to be able to use that technique. Like I haven't tried it on my hair, but I don't think it's right for my hair type. Okay, I think we're pretty good. Just a little bit. Guys, if you found this valuable so far, don't forget I go live every single Tuesday at 11 a.m. So you can definitely hit that follow button if you found this valuable and you want to join me again next week. definitely really like the Dyson. Okay, so now I'm just going in and breaking up the cast. If you have a tighter curl pattern, you can leave that a little bit. Some people with a more coily hair or very curly hair like to leave a little bit of a cast because it helps them get more longevity out of their style. So that's something you can experiment with. But typically people with a looser curl pattern, thank you for the rose, Nancy. If you have a looser curl pattern or if you have wavy hair, most people like to break that cast to restore the volume because it's typically people with a looser curl pattern, with wavy hair, curl that doesn't start at the root who are struggling with volume a little bit more. Yeah, it's gonna be gel or mousse that will create a cast for you. Okay. Okay, so we put way too much product in my hair today, but you know these gosh darn Canadian winters, you see what I mean? Like, doesn't really look like there's too much product in my hair. It's so dry here that like you can kind of get away with it. This is what I mean, like everybody's hair is a little different. My hair can really like tolerate a lot of product, so I don't worry about it too much. Even if you see the video where I styled my friend Hillary's hair, she was the gorgeous girl in the bikini top that I just styled her hair not too many videos ago on Instagram and TikTok. I used the Lust Brands Irish Sea Moss Gel on her hair as well, used a little bit too much on her as well, and in the end you couldn't even tell. I do find the Irish Sea Moss Gel is very forgiving if you use a little bit too much on a lot of hair types. Of course, if you have very fine hair, it's gonna get weighed down, like of course. Okay. Okay. So you can see I don't give myself a specific part, I just kind of let it do whatever it wants to do. Let me see. Okay, I really like my hair today. I think I don't want to mess with it too much because like I said, these Canadian winters, my hair continues to like equalize with the environment for like an hour or so after I finish styling here. I'm probably going to take a curling iron just to this piece a little bit later because it's going to be a whole lot of work for minimal effort just to fix this one piece. But basically, so I'm going to leave it be for about an hour. In fact, I'm not even leaving the house today, so I might even leave it today and see how it is tomorrow when I refresh it, rather than like scrunching it, trying to bring a whole bunch of more volume in it today. I think I'm just gonna leave it be because like I said, it's going to get a little bit drier. It's gonna change a little bit throughout the day. Now, I can't see the video where you did my friend's hair. It's in like the recent videos. So she's got, her name's Hillary. She's got brown hair and she's wearing like a really brightly colored bikini top. I think it's like yellow and pink. Have I used the styling cream, like the all-in-one? Yeah, I've definitely used the all-in-one. I'm a Lust Brands ambassador, so I've used all of their products at length. The Lust Brands all-in-one, I use the Wavy because the curly is a little heavy for my hair. I do really like the Wavy, and the scenario where I would use the Wavy all-in-one would be like if I'm at the cottage, I want a really easy hair routine that's one product, and I'm not super worried about longevity, like maybe I'm gonna go swimming again later that day, something like that, then a Wavy all-in-one is great for me. I can do a really simple squish to condish routine. In fact, I'm gonna post something like that probably tomorrow or the next day, like a squish to condish routine. So if that's a routine that you do and you're looking for some pointers, or if you've heard of squish to condish, stick around, you'll see that video coming out this week. It doesn't involve a Denman brush. It's just very straightforward, and it's Hillary's Subversive Socialites routine. Well, she didn't invent it, but it's the one she uses. So I really like the all-in-one for a really simple routine where I'm not really worried about longevity. But personally, I need gel to get longevity because my curl pattern has a tendency to loosen and fall out, and those all-in-one have a ton of hold. The curly has more hold than the wavy, but for my hair, the curly is just in order to get enough product to get the results I wanted, it's a little too heavy. So, you know, the wavy, curly, kinky, coily, all three are great products. Of course, there's no such thing as a product that can cater to every single hair pattern on earth, but that is like the time that I would use the wavy is when I want a really quick routine and I only need it to last me a day, because maybe I'm going to be going for a swim, or I'm going to be restyling my hair the next day anyways for an event or something like that. So it's really great for a really quick routine. Love it for that, or pairing it with a gel. And the shampoo and conditioner is just a shampoo and conditioner. You can pair it with whatever shampoo and conditioner you want. Ideally, a silicone-free and sulfate-free shampoo and conditioner for most people. My hair got less wavy a few days ago. Is it just because it's damaged? I use water on it most days. It's impossible for me to know. That is not enough information. It's a good question. If your hair suddenly got less wavy, it could be because your hair is over moisturized. It could be because your hair, that would be from using products that are too heavy for your hair. It could be because your hair is getting weighed down by products, like maybe you're using products that contain silicones, or you're only using a low poo shampoo or sulfate-free shampoo and you're never clarifying. So it could be just that it's weighed down from buildup. It could be, like there can be a lot of different reasons. It could be damage. It could be that your hair needs a little protein. Good question. Do you like Curlsmith? Yeah, I do. I haven't tried a lot of their products, but the ones that I've tried, I like. Guys, a lot of things can change your curl pattern for sure. Having a baby, postpartum curls, if you lose your hair related to chemotherapy, it can grow back very curly or not at all curly. But chemo curls is definitely a thing. Hair loss for any reason, when it grows back, it can grow back with a different curl pattern, either temporarily or permanently. Anything to do with your hormones, puberty. So I would say the three for women, the four big changes that you're going to see for women specifically, for I would say, I should say cisgendered women, who I'm not familiar with the impact that taking hormones can have on trans women. However, for cisgendered women, the main changes that you're going to see to do with hormones on your hair would be when you become going from toddlerhood to childhood. Often you will see a reduction in your curl pattern or an increase in your curl pattern at that transitional point. We call it baby curls. A lot of toddlers with baby curls might turn into straight hair, or a lot of kids with curly hair might end up having kinkier hair. One second. One second. So then the next one would be, the next transition that you're going to have is, I'm trying to think, your teenage years. You can have a transition in your hair pattern during your teenage years. During your hormones, the next transition that you're going to have is potentially when you're having a baby. Your hair can change quite a lot during your pregnancies after you have a baby. And then the next transition, pause. Just one second. Yeah, sorry. I'm just gonna be real quick here. I said cis women because I was talking about cis women. I'm really gonna be pretty, this community that I'm building here is a community for everyone, including people who are not cisgendered. Beyond that, I will block people real quick. But what cis means, for people who don't know what cis means, it means male. Sorry, I went quiet there because I was like, do I just block her? Okay. Anyways, so I'm pretty happy with those results. Yeah, so anyways, I think my hair is going to turn out a little bit, maybe a little bit greasy looking tomorrow, not because the products are necessarily bad, but because guys, stay tuned for my news. I have news that I'm announcing this week. So if you're interested in hearing more about that, absolutely stay tuned for my news this week. I'm located in Ottawa, Canada. You can, of course, DM me with questions. I help people out all the time in the DMs. Send me pictures of your hair. I can absolutely try and help. And if I don't get back to you right away, guys, or if I leave you on red, it doesn't mean I'm not going to get back to you. It doesn't mean I'm ignoring you. I get flooded by DMs sometimes. So it just means that like you're in the queue and I've read your review and I just haven't had a chance to get back to you yet. If you found this helpful today, absolutely hit that follow button. I go live every single Tuesday. And yeah. So anyways, yeah, so what happens when you put too much product in your hair? Let's talk about that for a second. So my hair took a little bit longer than it should have to diffuse because I used a little bit too much product in my hair. So it took a little bit longer to diffuse. I microplopped a little bit more than I would have normally to try and absorb some of that excess water. I could have just quickly watered down my hair under a faucet a little bit more just to dilute the product a little bit more, and I didn't do that, but that would have helped. Before I microplopped, I could have done that. I diffused a little bit longer to help absorb more of the product out or evaporate more of the product out. And what might happen is tomorrow or the next day, my hair might end up looking greasy from mids to ends sooner than it would have normally. That's typically a sign that you put in a little bit too much product, or what was I saying? Oh God, my concussion's kicking in. Or that you put in too much product on your wash day. The product's a little too heavy, or you put in a little bit too much product on your wash day. Do you have any tips on how to keep your curls looking nice in a ponytail? So if you mean that you want to be able to pull your ponytail out again afterwards without it looking ruined, I personally really like the puff cuff, which is linked in my bio. It's not right for everybody, especially if you have lower density or very fine hair, then it can be tough to get it to stay in place. But I do have a video, if you scroll back, of how I get it to stay in place. You need a certain amount of curl pattern in your hair and a certain amount of density to get it to stay, but it's basically like a circular banana clip. And I find I just have almost no kink in my hair when I pull it out, no bend in my hair from where the elastic would have been, and it like unclips so you don't have to like pull it through your curl pattern to be able to like get it out. So I really like that. However, it's not going to give you like a sleek pulled back tight pony, right? It's going to give you kind of like a slouchy ponytail. So it's nice for the gym. Other things like a banana clip in general can be great for pulling your hair back with minimal disruption to your curl pattern. I'm trying to think what other tips I have. You can also get a hair elastic, put bobby pins on two sides of the hair elastic, pull your hair back, clip one, twist one bobby pin into the roots and then clip it in, and then wrap the elastic around your hair and then twist the other bobby pin and put it in. And that's another way you can do a ponytail, so that you can just pull it out, unwrap it, and pull it out. So these are all ways that you can pull your hair back. I should make a TikTok video about that, actually. Those are all things that you can do so that when you pull your hair out, you're not like pulling the elastic out of your hair, which is going to do the most disruption to your hair. Claw clips are a great option as well. Jaw clips, claw clips, whatever you call them. Really dry hair, breakage near my crown. What do you suggest you do? So doing a bond treatment or using protein in your products can typically help with that, unless the breakage is being caused by protein overload. So like Olaplex or K18 is something you might want to look into. And And keeping your hair nice and like relatively short around your face so that it can get regular trims if it's just fragile hair. Okay, we're just chatting now. Okay, I'm gonna let you guys go to use clips for half updo. I haven't done many hairstyles lately because I almost never do hairstyles in my hair. I always just wear my hair down. But I do have on TikTok, at least, I have a playlist called Curly Hairstyles. They're wavy hairstyles, but I have a playlist called Curly Hairstyles that you can go check out, which has like a whole bunch of old legacy hairstyles that I've done. Okay. Again, if you found this valuable, don't forget to hit that follow button. If you go back and watch this recording, it is going to be under the reels and it will say live on the face of the reel on Instagram. And you can also find it on YouTube under the live tab. And you can watch the recording there as well. Okay. 1 second. Okay. Bye. Thanks for joining, and I will see you next week.